And we're
All
in.
right. Welcome, everyone. Today we have a very special episode. This is our fifth episode, and we decided to have a guest every 5 episodes. So, fifth, 10th, 15th, 20th, up to 100, 200, 300. Let's get it going. But this is our first guest speaker today. Very special guest for me because it's my friend from my university times at Lancaster University. Adit George, amazing guy, amazing entrepreneur, just a newborn hustler, just like two of us. So it's really great to have him here. Adit, would you like to say something to our viewers?
Hi guys, I'm happy to be here. Happy to see these guys. Daniel, I spoke to him sometime last week. It's nice to meet Zain for the first time. We had a brief chat behind the scenes. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk to you guys.
Did you have a chance to be the guest at any podcast, broadcast, interview before?
Um, not a video podcast, but like a few questions. Just like say for example, someone's interested in something, like maybe they reach out to me for some kind of market research, like hey, what's going on here? Maybe they'll send me some 5 or 6 questions, but nothing really formal. Nothing on video, which is interesting because
Okay.
I'm a huge viewer of podcasts, as you know, Daniel. So to be on the other side is very interesting.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you feel at least a bit like you are at, I don't know, Joe Rogan podcast or something like that?
I've always wondered how like obviously say taking the Joe Rogan explanation, and when you have like I don't know with Spotify, it's hard to know how many people are viewing, obviously, but in a YouTube live, at one point Joe Rogan was hosting on YouTube live, and you could see like multiple, like hundreds of thousands of people viewing one time. I always thought in the back of my head, how would this influence the communication between individuals? Like me and you are looking like at each other, and the guy opposite Joe or the girl opposite Joe is looking at him, but just the viewer effect of knowing that 100,000, 200,000 people are viewing, would that change something? Obviously in this
Mhm.
case it's less so, but when you are weighing on every word, you can't really speak freely even though you're friends. I was always curious about that, as a
Okay.
side note.
Okay. Yeah. Zain, would you like to add something before we kick off? Before we start with our questions that we prepared for Adit?
No, I think it's just a very big welcome, Adit. We had a chat behind the scenes, very fascinating. You do some very fascinating projects as well, So I think I have some questions personally. So I'm sure we will get to know each other more, and more importantly, people who are listening, whether it's now or further down the line when they look back, I'm sure there's something that's we're talking about something that's very relevant about the future
Definitely.
potentially. So I'm very looking forward to it.
All right. So our first question to Adit, we will start with with the main theme, with the question from the main theme of our first episode. So we will start with your why. What made you become an entrepreneur?
What made me become an entrepreneur is kind of, I feel, I mean, men, I think in general are idealistic in nature, right? We like the belief of certain things, or aspiring towards a certain belief or vision of the world. So I think to start off with, it was idealistic in the sense of independence, leaving the rat race. Um, I have nothing against a 9 to 5 job, but I saw so many of the people, um, graduates, my own friends, people I worked with in groups, going down that road and not really being totally fulfilled. Obviously, that classic phrase or quote is, you're investing time fulfilling someone else's dream rather than fulfilling your own dream. And that kind of resonated with me. Um, so it's like, if I have this vision and if I believe in the potential, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's digital products, whether it's whatever, insert niche here. Like maybe there is something that I could do on my own, and start small and go up with that. So to go on the start with why, yes, financial independence was there. I think, like I said in the description, but in uni, at least the last year, I realized there's so much more you could do on your own, like in terms of how much I learned on my own. So putting that into action, it didn't seem that daunting to me or that scary. Since I was like, oh, listen, like I was in university for 3 years, a good university, but I actually in the last year learned a lot more than my degree. So maybe to act on that is not as scary as I think, kind of thing. So that was really my why: financial independence, building a base of knowledge, and just being interested. Just being interested. We can talk about what it was interested in, which is for me digital marketing. But yeah, just having an interest, knowing that you can accumulate knowledge, and wanting the financial independence without um, the attachment to, okay, fine, I have a monthly income from a certain company, this is what I'm going to do for the next 5 years. That was attractive initially, but when I kind of looked in the future of like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it wasn't really attractive. So yeah, that's the kind of long answer to the
Okay.
question.
Okay. So also the why for the industry, for what you're doing specifically. So why digital marketing? Why cryptocurrency? Why non-fungible tokens?
Okay, so so before all of this other stuff, digital marketing, um specialized in marketing in university in one of the modules for business management. Obviously, well, I don't think it's that obvious, but I found a lot of entertainment and a lot of enjoyment, is probably a better word, in learning about stuff, learning about how, okay, what is dropshipping? Like, okay, there's a lot of hype. Okay, what is the dropshipping? What is the gold in this? There's so many loud voices. There's so many gurus, arguably a lot of fake gurus. What is the goal to be had in this niche? Did that? Okay, fine. Then there was another business model, drop servicing, which is you have the same kind of remote model, but you go with services. Say, for example, if you're a logo designer or a content writer, you can. It's basically about efficiency, getting other people to do the fulfillment side of it, and you take the managerial marketing side of things. So basically, in the last year of uni, I was going niche by niche, just inadvertently, and seeing, okay, what's this, and then I realized, okay, the big umbrella that kind of unifies all these different things is digital marketing. So what is digital marketing? It's um, bringing the traditional kind of marketing and advertising, but into a digital world with all the infrastructure that we have built: social media, Web 2.0, soon to be Web 3.0, SEO, all these kind of things. So when you say digital marketing, it seems almost too vague and broad of a term, because you could be talking to one SEO guy who thinks he's doing digital marketing, but you could be talking to a social media strategist who's doing digital marketing. So it was kind of interesting, but then I realized how deep it was, and that when something is so deep, you either get overwhelmed and you kind of step back and say, okay, maybe this is too big for me. But for me, I did the opposite. I realized, okay, there's something else to know. There's something else to know. So the interest kind of just pulled me more into that rabbit hole, if you'd like. And it's like, okay, I'm not trying to be a master of all these different things, but let me at least know a little bit of, okay, how does email automation work again? What's this whole thing about open rates and deliverability? So it's like knowing enough so you can do your job well. That's really what interested me.
And that you can communicate freely with experts that you will be hiring or
Exactly.
working with, right? Yeah, like
Exactly.
I had the same idea that when I started my digital marketing business, I was thinking like, yeah, it's fairly easy. There is no like rocket science behind that. And also, other
Hmm.
people hearing that I'm doing digital marketing, they were thinking and saying like, "Oh, there is like digital marketing. It's not a rocket science." But then I started, let's say, uncovering the mold right? The mold of being not knowledgeable enough. And then I realized that how
That sounds like your audio is off.
oh, okay. Sorry.
It's a little quiet.
This is how life is. Yeah,
Can you
don't worry.
and I will fix it.
Sure, I will take it over. So yeah, Dan was talking about digital marketing, etc. So I think it's quite interesting that it sounds like, you know, I know that when you say you have an interest in digital marketing, it's just like you actually started very broad, but you only decided to niche down the more that you learn about it. Would that be fair to say that? Because I think there are lots of people who are thinking like, oh, I need
Yes.
to pick a niche, I need to do this. But I think the procrastination comes when they just like, oh, okay, I know about this. And then once the door opens up, they're like, oh, there's so many ways, which one do I go? And then they get overwhelmed and then they give up. So, but for you, you literally just open up the first door. And then how did you, I suppose the question I'm going to ask is, how from digital marketing you decide to niche down into where you are? What was the thought process like?
Yeah. What and why, right?
Yeah.
Why even do it, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
why not be general? Why not be the fit for everyone? Like, you know, why not say no at all? Like you have the perfect thing for everyone. So yes, that's a really good question. What I'd say is first of all, like, yeah, when you open the door, there's this, you know, if we're talking to people who are entrepreneurs or people who are interested or people who are future entrepreneurs, the number one thing that you'll find is shiny object syndrome. And what that is like a magpie. It's a bird that we have in England. I might have it elsewhere. But what it is very attracted to shiny objects. So if it sees a little bit of silver or something shining, it'll go towards that. See something else, it'll go towards that. It's not happy with really one find. Whenever a new object occurs, maybe it's a bit more shiny, right? Maybe it's a bit larger, they will go there. So see the entirety of whatever niche, whatever industry, I guess you'd say, that you're targeting, and then really go to the drawing board with yourself or maybe a friend and brainstorm which of these is the most attractive. Because guaranteed, whilst on that journey, you'll find probably other stuff, but at least you'll be more centered to one, a closer fit, right? So if you go too wide, you're at an issue. So go wide, keep casting it out, brainstorm, see what fits, not just what you like, but where you fit into. So say, for example, you really like sales, but you're a person who's naturally introverted, your personality type isn't conducive for communication or communication multiple hours a day, let's say. So then, hey, you either accept that and go, I think, around 2-3 years to get to a reasonable sales proficiency, or you choose something else. So from the first part, understand that you can't do everything, pick something that's a closer fit, but then also, like you said, Zane, keep things open so you can kind of find that niche and get even more specialized as you go. So yeah, start with just the industry in general, then without getting too much shiny object syndrome, pick a solid one where you can say, for example, for me, it was lead generation, right? Generating interest, generating revenue. And so that is overwhelming because lead generation could be an SEO,
Yep.
right? Generating leads from a website visit. Lead generation could be paid lead generation. Lead generation could be, hey, swipe up on my PDF offer
And opt-in.
on
Yeah.
exactly. That could be lead generation. So that's kind of, I guess multiple niches, multiple use cases. So then after that, I was like, okay, I'm pretty, like I said earlier, like know enough on these different kind of areas. Now, what really, in terms of industry, do I want to do this lead generation for? Because before it was like any corporate, insurance and everything else. And that doesn't really create a lot of passion. inside of me. So then that was my incentive for going into the NFT route, going into cryptocurrency, because I realized, first of all, it's very immature in the sense that industry hasn't flourished in a way. Say, for example, like debt or insurance or anything else that's much less sexy but much more corporate. They've, for at least the past generation, they've had so much digital marketing guys overwhelm them. But with the cryptocurrency thing, I think they're learning as they go. It's a new industry. They said, okay, you know what? They're looking for people who can solve this problem. I already like what they're doing because I'm invested into cryptocurrency and I'm interested in NFTs. So, it's just like a fit. So some people might work with or niche down into things that aren't a fit for them, and that's okay too. There has to be some kind of pull factor. So say, for example, you're not really into fitness, but you like working with fitness entrepreneurs or influencers, so be it. You don't have to be a gym guy or a CrossFit guy, but you have to find something in that industry that pulls you, that is a fit for your unique kind of skill set. Because like I said, even if you're just doing lead generation, take that example, there's so many things. So maybe a fitness guy needs more of the social media posting and that type of thing, and you're a fit there. So, you kind of have to see how it goes, but also plan.
I have a question. If you can hear me, can you hear
A
me?
little bit, man. It's a bit quiet.
Still
It's
still very quiet.
Okay. Let me just
Let me turn
quickly
it.
maybe change the. How about now? How about now? No.
Still the same.
I've turned you up.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. I don't know what you did, but that worked. Yeah.
Oh, but I cannot hear you now. For some reason.
Sorry, guys. This is live. This is how it works. Things do go wrong.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
How about now? Okay. Cool. So yeah, I changed the microphone. It's not working today. Okay. So I wanted to ask very important question, because you said, okay, this is the new industry, cryptocurrency, NFTs. How do you view the idea of being pioneer, of introducing the tactics that you have learned, strategies from some other industries, and introducing them into industry that hasn't been touched by this kind of strategies and tactics?
Yeah. The first thing I'd say is, why even bother, right? Why bother, right? Like, why bother going for something that's untouched? Why not see the exact implementation case of organic social media outreach, for example, or email automation? Why not see an exact implementation on an industry like course sales? Like, someone's trying to sell courses, someone's trying to sell PDFs. Why not see an exact, this is email 1, this is email 2, this is email 3. Oh, this is the social media strategy I use. This is the post frequency. This is the template that I made it to look, a certain way. That's really useful. Okay, so that's really useful. And you could still see many use cases and learn from that, because it's easier to see something existing and then tweak it and improve it, rather than a completely new implementation of something. But cryptocurrency is not the same, because it's kind of, you see similar implementations of advertising and marketing from software as a service, or SaaS. You see similar models in the tech space. You see similar models in community groups, Patreons, etc. So if you have something that you're confident enough, like, say, for example, email automation, you could go into anything and find a fit. But what's better is, at the beginning, find, like, okay, a case study of someone doing it. And then, like, you could either tweak the case study, improve it, or you could say, okay, let me take this use case and then put it to another industry that's not so different where it won't be applicable, but it's unique enough that I have a competitive advantage. So right now, digital marketing, well, not even right now, for the past 3, 4, 5 years maybe, digital marketing agencies are all big buzzwords in the make money niche and YouTube. Everywhere, everyone's trying to make courses about this, be the next guru, sell the next Facebook course, all that stuff, type of stuff. So it's really about finding a new use case or finding a new way in an existing industry. So differentiation, I guess, is nothing new, but differentiation is key. So with this NFT stuff, why I chose it is one, like I said, cryptocurrency, NFTs. I was interested in it, but more than that, I feel once this surface level and oh, I can trade this NFT with Daniel, and he might pay 2x what I paid for, and there's just this tradability. It's like nice, cool, meme-worthy artwork. Once that fades away, like Gary Vaynerchuk says, I sincerely believe that there will be the traditional industries of advertising, the traditional industries of endorsements will come in and use NFTs as a vehicle to do the same thing in a better way. So, I mean, if anyone who's watching wants to look up this technology, it's called Web 3.0, and how it differs from Web 2.0 and Web 1.0. I might be making a mistake here, but the brief summary is Web 1.0 was just the exchange of information. Web 2.0 is the exchange of information and exchange of goods. Web 3.0 is me going direct to Daniel or me going direct to Zane and no value leaking to any of the aggregators, any middlemen. We are exchanging value directly. So NFTs is a vehicle to act out what Web 3.0 intends to do, which is remove the aggregator, remove the middleman, and go direct to your thing. So say you're into fitness, say you're into photography, you can go and buy, say, for example, a filter pack or video filter pack or an image filter pack direct from your favorite creator who kind of takes the same shots that you like, whatever, and you can go straight to him without buying it from a third-party website or anything else. So it's like you're supporting the creators that you like, the influencers that you like, and they're giving you the best content. So it's like NFTs fit into like a tiered system where you have your entry-level fans, people who are just viewing your content for free. Then you have someone who might buy an ebook or use your affiliate code. Then you have someone who buys your course. Then you have someone maybe who buys your NFT. So it's like this. People need to start seeing it as just one of many different things you can do. So go beyond the trend. Go beyond the fact that Beeple sold a 69.9 million NFT. Go beyond the hype and realize that it's just another vehicle for you to monetize that builds loyalty with your fans. That's the easiest way to say it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it sounds like, obviously I was in the spent some time trying to understand the crypto space as well. I think the word that was very commonly used, I think in the context of Web 3.0 as well, is about decentralization. It's really about, the way I see it is that I think you mentioned about removing the aggregator, but then it's really about transferring the ability and then the power back to just people like you and me. Just having that, just passing back on. There doesn't need to be a middle person anymore, which is what banks and governments are there to do, right? And I think this is where this new wave of web or technology is there to do that. And obviously we're in this sort of like in the very early and beginning stage of this, but it's for me, it's a very interesting area. We probably don't have the time to go into all of NFTs and cryptos and blockchain, but strongly encourage people to look into it, especially we are all probably in our 20s. It will matter to us
exactly,
two decades down the line,
to us and our children who own things in a different way. We like to own things and say, have this. We like to have things that are physical and tangible. When ownership becomes less of a tangible nature and more of a servitization based economy, you rent as you need it. I'm not saying I personally agree with the philosophy behind it and not owning anything, but you have to recognize larger scale and macro trends and either go with it, find some kind of value to put into that, or kind of go against it. And it's really hard to go against it now. To give people a big picture understanding of what this is have a look at Airbnb, have a look at Uber, have a look at all these things that are servitization. So what does Uber servitize? They servitize taxis. They replace taxis and they make the average guy into a driver and he goes direct to you. It's still centralized, right? But it's more closer to the provider and the user. Same thing with Airbnb. You stay where you want, you create your own service charges, you create your own fees, and you go direct. So that is still a centralized example, but if people can use those kind of, or WeWork, for example, they're going to do a new IPO apparently. I'm not sure how that'll fare, but so all these things where you have a servitization element. So basically just see it as you, whoever you follow on Instagram, whoever you follow on Twitter, you can go direct to them, get value that, only a super fan or a higher tier fan gets, and support them and support content like that in the future. So Twitter's already, I think they've already released that feature, super follower. So basically you can now pay for certain tiered membership and tiered kind of content on Twitter. So they're already understanding, okay, fine. This is a way for people on Twitter not just to have a cool follower thing, not just to post endorsements and advertisements, but okay, this is a way they can directly monetize their fans and give maybe unique content to them. So people are getting, even centralized entities are catching on.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Very interesting. Dan, you good now?
Yeah, so like it was really great to hear about your industry, but we would love to ask you some questions which are more general about the business overall, being an entrepreneur overall. So first the tough question, and then it will be easy question. The tough question is, what was the biggest challenge that you have encountered, and how did you overcome it?
Okay. The biggest challenge, I think, was a mental challenge. Most people, they imagine the biggest challenge would probably be hearing a no, or going through a few rejections. But really, it's the no's you tell yourself. It sounds very philosophical, but really, it's the classic "you are your worst enemy" type of thing. And the biggest challenge for me was saying, okay, I am new to this. I am a beginner. Okay, I'm the only one, or maybe Daniel or a few other people who are understanding of this journey, and I'm in communication with, who understand what I can offer. How do I convey that and communicate that to someone else, someone who would buy a service or buy a product or whatever? So really, the biggest challenge is the self-doubt that, okay, fine, if you're an entrepreneur who's beginning, if you're an entrepreneur who is, starting to go for clients in a first industry for the first time, that's really the daunting thing, telling yourself and believing that you have something valuable to offer. That's really the biggest challenge. Once you overcome that and you have something to offer, even if you get a few no's, you know that it's just a volume game, and you will build the traction, you'll get a referral, things will build up. But it's really the no's that we tell ourselves to not do it in the first place.
What kind of mental tricks, or maybe I don't know, some mental practice did you do to overcome your challenge?
I think for entrepreneurs, the number one thing, the lessons and the kind of overcoming self-doubt, the same solution that solves the problem of procrastination solves in a large part the entrepreneurship struggle. Start small, break down your things into manageable chunks. Don't judge yourself. Work through a list, right? Work through a to-do list, build some structure, and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And then in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, you realize, oh my gosh, I've done more than I actually thought I could do, or you know, I because you've just broken it down into manageable things that don't overwhelm you. Now, so on week 2 or week 3, the challenges that you're putting on a daily basis and on an hourly basis are larger because you know you can do more. So at the start, really just start small. That's the number one thing. It seems so simple. I wish I had something more abstract to say, but really it's the same kind of fix of procrastination, which is start small, make it manageable, and use that as momentum. That's the best thing I'd say. Use that as like an accelerant. Okay, really kind of leverage some small level wins onto larger level wins. Okay, someone finally opened an email. Someone finally replied. Okay, that's a win. Don't say, if you put the win as, okay, I've closed 3 clients. Now that win is so high relative to where you are now that when you fail the first time, or when you don't get a respond, forget it. You don't even get it open. Your email has not even been open. Someone's left you on red. Now you're not being able to do day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So bring it a little bit down and make the wins effort related rather than result related. So, hey, I'm going to send 100 emails out today. Make it performance related. That's something you can track. That's something you can go off. That's what I would say.
Yeah, like I agree with you, because that's the strategy that I rolled out in my business lately, by looking at where I want to be, not specifically like next month, 2 months, 3 months, but in 1 year, what I have to do in next 12 months to get there in 1 year. And then I thought about only next 3 months and the small activities that I need to do in this month, next month. So like with every business, it's all about sales, right? So how many sales I have to do this month to achieve my goal? Okay, but where the sales come from? Sales come from certain activities like cold messages, cold emails, cold calls. So how many of those things I have to do daily, weekly, so that I can achieve my sales goal for this month?
Exactly.
Yeah. Just on
performance metrics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just on self-doubt, because I love, I love it when you say it's all about the mind, sort of a mental thing, because I'm into all those things about like mindset as well. I read a lot of books about it. And I think at the end of the day, like self-doubt is really about like, if we really take a step and think about why do we doubt ourselves, a lot of the times it's really, I think, a lack of confidence. It's a simple word, but actually it's a lack of confidence to, I learned this from one of Brandon Bouchard's framework. Is about when you really think about doubt, etc. First thing is, it's actually your brain, which has evolved 2 million years, trying to just protect you, when entrepreneurship is a game of having to keep pushing those boundaries. That's where self-doubt keeps coming in, because you constantly try something new, you constantly have to try something different, you constantly have to do this, do that, and no wonder you are like overwhelmed and stressed and burnt out, because you're constantly trying to do things. But when it comes back to self-doubt, it's really about like, actually self-doubt is really all about here, when the trick to get over self-doubt is to do it here. It's transforming, is turning those mental energy into something that you can just put into action and just get over it step by step.
Exactly. And if you can't convince yourself, how are you going to convince anyone else?
With someone else.
Yeah.
That's the literally, that's the thing. And I'd say, if people watching this, or for you, just you guys, the number one philosophy that helps us entrepreneurs, or just helps guys in real life, is Stoicism. So read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations if you haven't. Read what Seneca says. Read what Epictetus says. Just type in Stoicism. You don't have to go granular with this philosopher, that philosopher. But the essence of the philosophy is, I cannot control the outcomes that happen. All I can control is my reaction to those outcomes, or actions. So that's the number one thing, whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever. So that is a good antidote to self-doubt. Because what can I do? What can I do?
Okay, this thing about Stoicism, do you think that it transferred from your entrepreneurial life to your personal life, or the
Definitely.
other way around?
I'd say it transfers. I learned about it in my personal life, for my personal life, just to be a better human being, just to have more control over the mind, more control over thoughts and actions. So I'd say it stems from the personal life, but it's so synergistic, man. So synergistic with business. And obviously, as you know, once things start being implemented in business, it helps in your personal life and vice versa. So for me, yes,
Okay.
personal life first, but now it's kind of just life.
Okay, so is there anything that let's say you haven't encountered in your personal life before, but then when you started being an entrepreneur, you've learned it, and then it somehow helped you in your personal life?
Okay, so something that was unintroduced or new in the and then the business side of things introduced it to my life, and then I could learn from it. Um, Sales, sales. That's the number one thing. Um, I was thinking what would be the biggest thing. Obviously, there's so many small things, but sales is the number one thing, man. And the reason why is because whether you are selling a product, whether you're selling a service, you have to realize at the end of the day, you're selling yourself. Not in a weird way, or selling your body or anything like that, but selling your ideas, selling your belief system. Why? So say you ask me, oh, why do you believe in NFTs, or why do you believe in X cryptocurrency or X digital marketing thing? I'm selling you on that idea. You can, of course, I hope that both of you guys, educated people, will go in the background and research like everyone else. But in that moment, you might not even bother researching whatever I mentioned if I didn't sell you on that initial interest. So sales is so much larger than making money. It's really getting your ideas across, and that obviously transfers into making money. But I'd say sales is the number one thing, and my mindset shift to sales that helped me in my personal life. Because when I was going without, say, take all the business understanding and just going from personal, I always thought sales was like the slimy thing that you do. You kind of have to do it. The door-to-door approach is kind of invasive. No one really wants you there. So I went from that to like, oh, do you actually have something of value? Oh, is it a win-win? It's like, if you come from the game theory perspective, there's both parties can win. Oh, great. So now it's, over time, obviously, I changed how I view it. Then I understood the science behind it and how you take customers, like if you take Jordan Belfort's straight line system, you take customers through a natural journey. Um, it's very interesting, and it really helps in real life as well.
I
Just
love it.
communication. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like this can be a completely different episode on its own, just talk about sales, etc. But when I was looking at it, I was that person like, oh, sales is like this dirty word that everyone wants to avoid. But when you really understand sales, it's like you can call it sales, you can call it whatever you want, you can call it a service, you can call it literally whatever. You don't have to call it sales if you don't want to. But then it's really about like influencing. It's like you
Yeah, that's
actually
it.
to make a sale, you actually have to understand where this person is coming from, then do it. Like asking your girlfriend or boyfriend to take the bin out to throw it outside. It's sales.
Exactly.
You have to
It
convince
is.
him or
What's
her
the
to do
incentive?
that thing. Exactly.
Yeah,
What's the incentive?
exactly.
And what are the
Yeah,
objections?
but also what you mentioned, Zain, it's also about like wrong beliefs. Like the it's just our human nature that we hold many wrong beliefs about many different things, and it's sometimes very hard to replenish those wrong beliefs. And I guess our initial wrong beliefs about sales comes from the culture, actually, from people getting fooled by salesmen in the past. And then this false belief is planted in our mind, and then it keeps us away from performing certain tasks, right?
Completely.
Or
Yeah.
maybe
And other,
like sorry to interrupt you, but like you pick up a phone at home and a telemarketer is not leaving you alone.
Yeah,
you have to block his number.
Exactly.
So now you don't want to be that guy when you are going
No,
out
you
and
don't.
selling your service or product.
Yeah.
So,
You know what's
yeah.
interesting? I know we're going to head into our last question. But I remember someone talked about a research, right? And when they research people to say, who do you think of when you hear the word sales? And I can't remember the percentage, but very high, more than half, even 60, 70% of people thought of a used car salesman. Isn't that interesting that we all think to the same sort of identity, because that was how it's been portrayed in TVs and stuff, and that's how we perceive it. But anyway, that can be I've not make a note. That will be a different episode where we can just talk about these things called sales.
Exactly. All right. So our last question, and we are expecting just a maximum of 2-3 sentences answer. So simple advice that you would like to give to wannabe and early entrepreneurs.
Start with why. It's a very good first step. Start with why. That's what's going to get you out of bed every morning. That's what's going to get you past certain objections, whether it's your family or friends or whether it's just yourself. Start with why. Then break it down into how. So do I? Okay, you said a few sentences. So I'd say the two, even more than what, like what industry, what skill. I'd say start with why, and go with how and what after. So find out why you want to do it, why you want independence, why you want your own creativity to come across, etc. And then you can go into the what and how. I can't really separate what and how because it's so interlinked, but like what you exactly want to do and how you want to do it. Do you have to wear do you have to do everything? Are you willing to work with people? Are you willing to hire people on an hourly basis to fulfill certain roles? So I'd say yes, start with the why first. That's the number one thing, like your first episode. That's why I really liked it. Start with the why, and then a mind map, run it through a few open-minded friends, maybe even a few entrepreneurs who have shown a track record of success. See what they think. Don't be emotional, because sometimes they don't want to give you the true criticism because they see you're so emotionally invested. So just say, hey, listen, I just want to know what you think. Feel free to shoot it down. It's okay. And if you believe strongly in it anyway, and you realize that, okay, maybe the angle they're coming in, they wouldn't understand or whatever, take it to someone else. And if you see the same thing, then if you see the same thing, like, oh, maybe this is not the time for it, this is not the skill for it, then maybe not second guess yourself, but take it to mind and evaluate it and see if it's something you want to go ahead with. But yes, instead of just listening to your friends, listen to people who are in that industry. Because if you don't listen to someone in that industry, you can always kind of shake it off and like, oh, he doesn't know what he's saying, or she doesn't know what she's saying. So go to the person who would know what they're saying and ask them what they think. So don't go too vague. Don't go to your friends. So say if you're interested in NFT, maybe talk to an artist. Maybe talk to an influencer. Talk to people who are shareholders. That's what I would say. And see if they would hire someone like you. Or if you polish yourself up, create a more meaningful product or service, would they take you then hypothetically? So yeah, speak to your ideal market. That's what I would say. Not just anyone.
Yeah. All right, great. It was really, really insightful episode. Probably it will be my favorite episode so far because it's always great to spend good 45 minutes in a group of close, like-minded friends.
Definitely.
Once again, thank you for committing your time. It's
No
not
worries.
easy
Thank you, guys.
to catch busy, successful entrepreneurs these days because they are so busy. So we really appreciate your time, and hopefully one day maybe we will reunite. Like
Definitely, I hope so.
1 year from now. Maybe 2 years from now, and maybe you will be discussing a bit more about cryptocurrency and NFT, how it developed, or maybe you will be in a way different industry. Who knows, right?
We can create an NFT for the podcast, guys.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Why not? Just reward the most loyal subscribers. Obviously,
Yeah,
you
sure.
guys are still growing, but then when you reach a certain level, you can. YouTube already has a version of this. You've seen it, right? The badges and the tiered membership. They're already doing it without doing it, right?
Okay, yeah. We definitely.
Why not?
We definitely need to think about that. Yeah. And and also I had this idea in my head that maybe we should like create NFT of this episode and give it to you, as like in physical meetings, physical interviews, there's always like a bottle of wine or something like that to the guest.
No, and
so then we will go with the spirit of the 21st century, and we will grant you an NFT of this episode.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because there's a guy, I might be butchering his surname. I think his name is Justin Can or something like that. Basically, you could search him up. He's a co-founder of Twitch. And so what he's doing, he's a new influencer, I guess, new creator on the YouTube space. And last time I saw him, it might be because of how fast his channel is growing, it might be completely different growth now. But it was about 45,000 subscribers, whatever. And so what he was doing to build traction, to build loyalty, to reward his super fans that were coming from Twitch and coming from his past achievements is, hey guys, you can buy my first YouTube video as an NFT. And so he was probably awarding them the AdSense from that video, etc. So he's kind of trying to generate that kind of loyalty by giving them a piece of him as he's growing. So that I found is very unique. So you were joking about sharing a video and all that stuff, but really someone's actually doing that share, like with Jack Dorsey's selling his first tweet and all that stuff. So it's really, that's all. Yeah, what can you monetize, and how's the best way to go about it?
Okay, yeah, we should definitely discuss it in details later on. But so that was it. That was our episode. To everyone watching it tonight, thank you for spending this time with us.
Thanks for watching.
It was really great to create this episode for you, and speak to you next Wednesday.
Thank you, Adit, and see you all. Goodbye.
Bye.